What's up YouTube? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky and today's video is all about dealer scams. Now, unfortunately in the headlines there's been a lot of issues with different dealerships ripping off people, and we're going to talk about a few of them today. This video basically was inspired by Baller Busters. I'll leave a link to their Instagram down below. I was reached out by several people that actually were taken advantage of by a particular dealership, and I'm going to tell you guys how to make sure you don't fall into these pitfalls, what to look for and everything else, so this way you don't get in trouble. So before I do, if you guys could do me a huge favor and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps me find more amazing people like yourselves that enjoy automotive content. Also, if you consider subscribing, I post epic stuff like this all the time, and I would truly appreciate it. And without any more shameless plugging, let's get into the video. So unfortunately I have to make this video, but I wanted to give people a little bit of inside explanation on what's going on with CNC motors. Now, I see a lot of regular people talking about it from their point of view. I'm going to let you know on the dealer's standpoint on what happened, how to look out for this stuff, and how to protect yourselves if you are a consumer. Now, this originally was brought up to me by several people reaching out wondering what happened. Now, unfortunately, this issue with CNC motors is not a rare occurrence. It actually happens quite a bit. So, you know, one of the things we do as far as consulting is we actually help dealers get out of trouble with their flooring lines, their lines of credit. And that's, I believe, what happened with this particular company is, you know, there's certain things they did that got themselves behind the eight ball and they were trying to play catch up and they just couldn't. So I'm going to explain to you how to protect yourself if you're going to do consignments and everything else, because there are a lot of good dealers out there. I don't want to paint a picture that all dealers are bad. We are definitely not. But there are some that operate above board and there's quite a few that operate below. So I want to give you guys a few things just to protect yourself if you consider doing consignments. So if you're asking why should I consign my car to an exotic car dealership, there's a lot of reasons why. The biggest thing is financing. Now when it comes to these types of vehicles, it's very hard to get financed. So at least if you have it at a dealership, it gives you a second opportunity to actually sell your vehicle with other people. Plus, they may come in for a Ferrari that they can't afford for $400,000, but if you have a Lamborghini that's maybe $300,000, you have a better chance of selling it there in that location compared to selling it on Auto Trader or something else. So it's one of those things where it's nice to have it in a dealership. Two, you have somebody looking over it. They can start it, they can move it around. You know, it doesn't sit there. The worst thing for a car is to actually sit for too much time. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the proper way to consign a car. So if you're considering consignments, here's a few things that I would definitely recommend doing. First one is always make sure you have a contract with the dealer. Now, a lot of these people, unfortunately with CNC, some of them didn't have any type of contract. So if you have one person that has a contract and they don't pay you, you can actually go after them for fraud. Where if multiple people do it, you have to wait to get a basically class action lawsuit to get them to actually go to jail. And that's, I believe, what's happening in the case of CNC motors. But to protect yourself, you always want to make sure first that there's a contract. Second thing I always do is, people are going to laugh, I always put a GPS in every single one of my cars, especially if you're putting it out in somebody else's possession for ownership. Now, that's not this dealership, but I know a few dealerships in LA, also here in Vegas, that were actually taking people's cars out and driving around. Even some of them were renting them out on Turo, which is crazy. But people can get away with this because, you know, a lot of these people that own these types of cars are very busy people, or they live out of state, you know, so they ship their cars into these dealers, you know, expecting them to clean them up, put them up on the showroom for a display, and they actually sell them. So GPSs will actually allow you to let you know that if they're starting your car, if they're taking care of it, you know, if you see it drive around the block, they're just charging the battery, it's okay. But if all of a sudden you start looking and they're driving all over the place and it's moving multiple times in a single day and it's going to different places, you know that they're actually driving the vehicle, and that's bad. Unless they're telling you, hey, I'm taking it for a test drive, something else like that. You have some sort of data to track it. Plus, once the actual vehicle leaves, if they do sell it, you could say, well, this car's been gone off the showroom floor for 2 days. Where's my check? What's going on? So GPS is definitely a good way of backing yourself up. I would do it. I wouldn't tell the dealer about it. Just put the GPS in there and just hopefully trust them that they're doing the correct professional thing. Next thing is, if you're worried about your consignment, you can always do a virtual one. I have lots of clients that take their vehicles in, they get pictures taken in the showroom, they have a professional photographer set up, and then the dealership posts it on their website, but the vehicle stays at the consumer's house. Sometimes it's a little bit better this way, especially if it's a very expensive or very rare vehicle. You don't want anybody damaging it or putting fingerprints all over, whatever the case is. So that's one of the ways you can compensate for that, is leaving your vehicle at home, but allowing the dealership to post it on their social media, their website, and everything else. So this way it attracts more buyers. And then if they have like a special event, like a big, you know, car show once a week or once a month where they bring in all the cars and a lot of their customers come, then I would bring it out for that particular offer. But that's one of the things you can do to protect yourself. Now, I'm going to make a huge disclaimer here. If you consign your car, you never, ever bring them your title. You never give them possession of your title by any means. Now, as a dealer, I need to make sure that you are the owner of the vehicle. If you want to send me the registration, a picture of the title, or if you want to physically come into the dealership and show me a paper title, that's fine. It lets me know that you actually have possession of the title. I can write down the title number and I can do my due diligence to make sure that the vehicle is not stolen and it's correct and everything's above board. So that's the dealership why most dealerships ask for a title when they do consignments. Now, on the consumer side, you never want to give your title to a customer, or a dealership, because they could basically floor your car, which flooring a car means they can give that title to their line of credit and literally pull the equity out of your car in a moment's notice. So I've had people do that. Also, you can do it with pictures. So if you're consigning a car and the dealer keeps asking you for the title, say, no problem, I'll send you a picture. But before you send them a picture, you get another separate piece of paper in front of this. I'll try to move this way you guys can see it. I don't know if you can see that well. Sorry, it's the lights I got in here are not that great. But basically what it says is do not floor. I have the picture of the title, and then I make sure I leave this piece of paper right here in front. So this way the bank knows that they can't use my title to borrow money against it. So when you're a dealer and you have a title, the way it works is like, let's say I buy this car from you. I can take a picture of that title, send it to my line of credit, and they will issue me whatever Kelley Blue Book wholesale is right away, overnight. And then I just mail them the title at my convenience. Now that's what happens with a lot of these dealers that get in trouble. They take your title, they take the pictures you send them, and they borrow money against it. So in this particular case, a few people were talking about how their cars were taken by a floor plan or Next Gear or AFC. That's what it is. He basically took the people's titles, took a picture of it, or physically took it in and said, hey, I need to borrow money against this car. The dealer borrowed the money against the car, and now the legal owner of that vehicle is the actual floor line, the line of credit. So the second the customer doesn't make their payments, the dealer, they take it away. And even though legally it's your car, and you can say, look, it's my car, it's in my name, blah, 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 you gave them ownership by sending them a picture of the title without the piece of paper, or giving them the paper title. So that's one of the things that, like I said, majorly blows up in your face. So never, ever give them a physical title. And if you do give them a title, like I said, you put that piece of paper on there, you do not have permission to floor my car. This is a consignment vehicle. Write it all over the place, and then give them that picture. This one will let the dealer know that you're educated, that you're not some clown, and then also it'll protect you. So this way, the flooring companies, if they see that, they will ask, well, no, this is a consignment. Why would somebody write this down? So it's very important that you do that to protect yourself when it comes to consignments. The next thing we're going to talk about is after the sale. So let's say you consigned your vehicle to a dealership and they said, hey, congratulations, we sold it. First thing you need to ask the dealer is, can you send me a copy of the actual bill of sale or sales docs? I just need the front page. Front page will have the consumer, whoever bought your car, the name of the actual dealership, and then also have usually the bank of whatever they sent it to, or if it was cash or whatever else. So at least it'll give you an indication of what it is. So if it's an actual cash deal, within 24 to 48 hours, you should have a check or a wire coming to you ASAP, because on the actual deal structure, it'll say it's a cash deal. Now, if it's a finance deal, hopefully it'll say the actual lender. The reason why you want to get a copy of this thing is if for some reason they don't pay you in a few days, you could reach out to that bank and call them and say, look, I can sign this car. This dealer didn't pay me. Did you guys pay them? If they paid them, then you could say it's fraud, and sometimes they can unwind the deal and you can go pick up your car from the consumer and you're actually safe and clear, and the bank will actually go after the dealer. But here's the problem. Once that dealership sells a car to a regular person, let's say it's your car and he sells it to another consumer, the consumer is protected by law. So even though they screwed you out of the money, you cannot take that car back from the person. I've seen it happen multiple times where, this guy got ripped off and they gave their car to somebody else, and, they thought that, well, it's my car, it's in my name, it's legal. If you go try to take that car back, you will go to jail. It is theft. You have to go to the legal channels and you have to go to the dealership. So make sure when you sell this vehicle, ask them, say, can I get a bill of sale, or can I get the front page of the deal jacket or whatever it is, so this way you can see this way protect yourself. So the next part of this process is, if you did get screwed by a dealer. So if for some reason, you gave your car to a dealer and they sold it and you haven't been paid and you keep blowing their phone up and stuff like that, the only options you have is to go file a complaint with the DMV. Now, once you file a complaint with the DMV for fraud, you can actually get their bond information. Once you get their bond information, you either call, write, email, text, whatever, to the bond company, and you let them know what's happening. Say, hey, look, this guy, I gave him a car, he stole it, he defrauded me, blah, blah, blah. And every dealership has a $100,000 bond. Now, if your car is over $300,000, you're only gonna get up to $100,000 back from the bond. That's it. So every dealer has this to protect themselves from fraud. Now, you could sue their insurance, which takes a little bit more time, but you can get some of the money back because some of the coverages is to cover fraud and malfeasance and some other things. So, but that's something you need to get from the dealer and also the DMV because they have copies of both the dealer's bond and the dealership's insurance. So if this does happen to you, like in the case of CNC, I've seen a lot of people like, you could sue this, you could sue that. You file a claim with the DMV, you go after their bond, and then you sue their insurance company and you sue them. And you have to put all their names, the owner's name, the dealership's name, also the insurance company and the bond company all together in one big lawsuit. And this is the best way to trigger results and to get some sort of a payout or get compensated for the vehicle they took from you. Now, like I said, unfortunately, this is just one that was really big in the headlines, but this happens all the time. So please be careful. There's tons of dealers out there that, they can't afford these exotic cars, so they constantly, oh, I do consignments. And that's what they're doing is they're trying to get people to give them consignments so this way they don't have to buy their own cars. Where a lot of the bigger exotic car companies, they don't take consignments because they don't want the headache. They don't want the issues with the owners. So be very, very careful when it comes to something like this. And there's nothing wrong with if you consign, let's say, your exotic car or your classic car to one of these vendors, you have the right to stop by. I don't recommend bugging the dealership, but if you drive by and you just see your car in the window, you drive by once a week, I highly recommend that because it'll put your mind at ease. Plus, it'll let the dealership know that you are on top of the ball, that you're constantly looking at it. So if they are considering doing something shady, they know not to do it with your car because you're a smart consumer. But anyways, if you have any questions, please put them down there below. If you've been ripped off by a dealership or you have issues like that, like I said, I'm here to help. That stuff's completely free. If you've been screwed over, I want to try to help you guys as much as I can. Also, if you're a dealership in trouble, because this is a very big thing. A lot of dealers get in trouble with their lines of credit and their flooring lines, and they get behind the 8 ball. There's ways to get around it to get yourself back out of there. But if you're having issues, also reach out to me. You don't want to screw over people. There's a right way to do it. We can get these people their cars back. You can get some money in the back end. You can close your business, and there's a right way to do it without screwing a bunch of people. So, like I said, reach out to me if you're interested in that as well. And also, like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you feel like you've learned anything, please smash the like button. Also, if you consider subscribing, I post epic stuff like this all the time. And also click the notification bell. Also, if you can follow us on Instagram at automotive.life, I'd truly appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next video.